Bailey. Like they trade down and take Styles or down. Like they I think they've raised their floor defensively, and hopefully Glenn's way better than Steve Wilkes at calling plays. But like I don't think this defense is great yet. I think maybe they're mediocre. Like they still need some star power on that defense.
Oh God, yeah. I mean that absolutely. But I would say if the Jets weren't at 2, like if they were in the commander's spot, more justifiable, maybe going offense. There is no way. No chance you could go offense at number 2. None. 0.
Yeah.
Right?
The best players in the draft, except for Mendoza, are defensive guys.
What about Love?
What?
What about Love?
That's a running back situation. I'd be surprised. I if they didn't have Breece Hall on the franchise tag, I would, possibly think that way. I don't think they're a running back away. I think they have other needs. I think the best players are defensive in this draft. And so you got to take the best player, and it's going to be a defensive player.
Super chat from Johnny Boy. We still got a bunch, guys, so let's get to as many as we can here. Johnny Boy says, why is Ruben Bane getting no love from the Jets? Rich, when you asked Glenn about Arvell Reese in one of your questions, one of the first things he said when looking about measurables was arm length. So I'm like, you could cross Ruben Bane off the board at 2. But is that ultimately the reason why he's not getting as much love, seemingly at 2?
Well, people might laugh about arm length. It's like the whole hand size thing, right? At the combine. Arm length is a real thing, though. For scouts and personnel, if you're an edge rusher or an offensive tackle, arm length is huge. I mean, no pun intended, but like DeBrickashaw Ferguson had massively long arms that made him such a good pass protector. He could get his hands right into the guy's chest before he could react. And it's the same thing for a defensive lineman. If you're a shorter armed guy, you're in a little bit of a disadvantage. Now, he is a really good player, Bane. I'd be very surprised if the Jets took him at 2. If for some reason they traded down a few spots, then I could see him being a factor. But I'd be kind of surprised if they did that at 2.
Well, you also don't want to really go to dinner with Ruben Bane. Going to take him a while to get into his wallet and get out the credit card. Get the bill.
Drew writes in, Rich, what are the odds we trade up just a few spots for Jordan Tyson?
Yeah, I mean, I think this goes into the conversation that we had earlier about trading up. Maybe you don't have to go as high as 7 to get a wide receiver. I think Tyson is a really good player, and I'm like we talked about. So yeah, absolutely, I could see that. I don't know which one the Jets prefer, if it's Tyson, Tate, or Lemon, but they could absolutely do something like that for sure.
Hey, let's do this real fast. So give me a percentage. All right, Jake. First up, Tate, Tyson, Lemon, Cooper, and Boston. A percentage that one of them is on the Jets.
Ooh,
one of them.
80%.
Okay, Rich.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go that high because I don't think Muji would reach at 16 to fill that need. And they all could be gone by the time they pick at the 33. So I would say like 65 to 70%.
Yeah,
maybe they trade back into round 1.
That's where I was going.
They could do that too.
Probably 70% for me too.
Lou B writes in, and let me warn you guys, Lou B is a Jeremiah Love truther. He wants the Jets to take him at 2. He's been calling my show for months with this take, and let's see if he's asking about that. He goes, is it possible the Bailey smoke was for the Cowboys, and they spoke and the offer was too low, so they canceled Bailey? The Bailey news looks like a planned leak. Wow, shockingly, he's not asking about Jeremiah Love. Rich, you could kind of get in the weeds with this as a journalist. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is quite a conspiracy theory here. I mean, I know teams do nutty things sometimes before the draft. I don't even know how to answer that one. I mean, that's, I guess it's possible, but I don't know if the Jets that's really diving into the weeds there.
I think you can even stretch it out to other teams too, not just independent or just not focusing on Dallas. I do think there's an element of smoke there. I'm not a reporter like Rich, but they're not just sitting around scratching their ass saying, all right, let's cancel it for the sake of canceling it. There seems to be a pretty defined roadmap by the Jets, and that, speaks to my belief in Muji, things I've said before. But, hey, 8 days, we'll get the answer. That's the good news.
Peter Castro writes in, Glenn sucks, and Gino's the reason we couldn't get Mendoza. Can you tell Peter is a Jet fan? Neil writes in, BT and Rich, since it'd be nice to score points for a change, would you be okay with Ty Simpson at 33, trading Breece for a receiver or a third rounder, and then taking the best player in the draft at 2 in Jeremiah Love, and then going receiver at 16. Here we go. So Neil, all about scoring points, wants Love at 2,
Wow.
receiver at 16, and wants Ty Simpson at 33 with a Breece Hall trade included. BT, you on board?
I'm just trying to dissect that line by line. So you got Love, you got a new receiver.
That's a lot of movement.
It's a lot of movement. Yabuchi's capable. Love the running back. One of those receivers that I just mentioned, that we've mentioned at 16. I don't think they're going to trade Breece, and I don't think they're going to go for Ty. It's a good idea. It's well thought out, well constructed. I don't think it's very plausible, but it's not terrible.
I don't think the Jets are in the Ty Simpson. I just don't. That's not the vibe I'm getting, that they're in the Ty Simpson situation. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Just in the first round or in the second round included in that vibe?
I don't think he's going to get to the second round. I think Mel Kiper hit it today in his mock. I think he had Arizona trading up in the bottom of the first round to take Ty Simpson. I could
with
see
the Dolphins,
like
I think, with that Miami trade, right, Rich?
Yeah, I could
saw
see something like that happening.
Yeah, I think he's going first round, Ty. I do, but I don't think he's going to be a Jet.
Jack's Jet Rich writes in, thoughts on the Jets canceling Bailey's meeting? Jack's Jet, circle back to the very beginning of the show, and that's what we led with, and you'll get
Where you been?
the full breakdown. We appreciate the super chat, though. NY Jets Florida writes in, thoughts on Rodriguez and Pons. So we hit on Rodriguez. How about Pons, the corner from Indiana? It's funny because if Aaron Glenn was studying tape and he looked at Pons' tape, would he not be looking at a carbon copy of what Aaron Glenn was as a player at Texas A&M, Rich?
Is Pons that fast? I mean, I watched him play. I know he's fast, but Aaron Glenn was exceptionally fast.
He's still fast against Tampa.
Yeah,
I mean,
Aaron Glenn
move
was like
that
a
when I was 20.
4-4 guy. Pons, very physical player, good ball skills. Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be a good fit for the Jets. So second round, for sure. I think that, as I said earlier, I think cornerback, and I wrote something for ESPN.com. It was supposed to be posted a little earlier about how it's a sneaky need for the Jets. So BT mentioned the corner from Tennessee.
McCoy.
You know, he's coming off the ACL. They did have him in for a visit. They had my ideal guy, Chris Johnson's a factor as well. So yeah, corner is I think on the Jets' radar.
Don't forget about Mansour Delane as well from LSU.
Yeah, but he's going to be
back there.
Yeah, he might go in the top 10. So he's
scooting up. Yep.
Yeah, he's good.
Mimosa checks in, fresh off a $50 super chat last week. She's back with a $20 one. Thank you, Mimosa. Which pick do you think will be the biggest year one impact, and which one would be more of a long-term project? Not the number, but the potential player / position. BT, you got thoughts on this?
I do. Sadiq, you brought this up, I think, the first show. I always liked him, but Rich, I'm going to give you credit here. I wasn't really thinking about it this way because I was so enamored with the group of receivers.